One of the hardest things for me to take as somebody who suffers from anxiety is the understanding that I pass my anxiety on to my children. First off, if you're new here, this channel is all about mental health, the ways that we feel. I tackle topical things about well-being, how I still try to thrive in my life in spite of struggling with some of the ways that I feel. So if that feels like something that might be of use to you, then remember to subscribe and always turn on the notifications so you know each and every time that I post a new video. But for now, on to today's video. So a lot of what I talk about throughout all my content across my social media and my channel is how I still struggle in today's life with anxiety. Now that presents itself in 1,000,001 different ways, many of which I try and get into with the content that I produce. But probably, like I've said, one of the hardest things to accept, one of the hardest things to acknowledge is the understanding that I pass my anxiety onto my children. And what I mean by I pass my anxiety onto my children is I make my children suffer with anxiety. So there's lots of different ways I believe that I pass my anxieties onto my children. And I think the reason that I explore this and want to talk about this is because understanding it gives me the opportunity to try and change it. But clearly, as somebody that is understanding it more and more and more, the fact that I still do it shows just how difficult a cycle it is to break. Now, an obvious example of this is that my anxiety has a lot to do with me finding it difficult to just be. And being around my children and being with my children requires me to be present and to just be quite a lot. And so when I struggle with that, I react to that in a number of different ways. I'm often in a kind of survival. I'm trying to cope. I'm trying to survive, having to just be around my children. Now, for anybody that doesn't struggle in the way that I struggle or have any of the kind of anxiety issues that I have, it might be difficult to understand that I feel like that difficultness in being around my children, because you simply think, why, aren't your children enough? And that is a process that goes through my mind all the time. Why aren't they enough? Why can't I be present? Why can't I enjoy them like I'm supposed to? And look, this isn't something that happens all the time, but it is something that is fairly frequent because I have a difficulty in just being and being present. And that doesn't just change just because I'm in the company of people that I love. An obvious example that I use is I sit and I've done this, and I'll sit down with my daughter and and I'll put the TV on, and this is about me and her time. And so we'll put the Peppa Pig on the telly, and straight away I'm not interested in what's on the TV, so I need to just be. I need to be present with my daughter, and I find that difficult. So one of the first things I'll do is get my phone out. Now, my daughter, one of my daughters, the one I'm talking about in particular now, is 2 years old, and she is aware that she wants to be with me. She wants to experience what we're doing together, and she will become quickly aware that I'm not present and I'm not there. Now, she doesn't have the vocabulary to articulate, look, Dad, can you just put your phone away and watch the TV with me? So she'll start to play up, right? Start to act out, try and get my attention, try and create a situation where I am present with her without saying it. And what do I do as a parent? The first thing my go-to is to get angry, is to get snappy. And even as I say that, it makes me feel horrible. But the reality is that is something that plays out. And what am I teaching my daughter there? I'm teaching her, one, that she's not good enough. She's not as valuable as whatever it is that I'm turning to. And two, I'm teaching her, don't tell me your feelings. You don't try to express how you're feeling. And so understanding that, makes me work harder on that. It makes me get to a place where I know I need to work more on trying to just be. Another example is we were at Crufts on Friday, and it's very, very busy there. That heightens my anxiety to another level. And I have to really, I'm firefighting when we're there just to be present and just to enjoy the time with my family. And again, my children will tap into that. They'll tap into that energy. They'll realize that I'm anxious. They won't know, they won't be able to vocalize that I'm anxious, but they will be responding to the energy that I'm creating. And again, it is an energy of tenseness. I'm very uptight. It's quite clear that or it comes across like I don't want to be there. I do want to be there. I want to be enjoying it. But this feeling that I have and this difficulty just being is very, very difficult. And so again, like in these places, I am breeding anxiety. I'm oozing anxiety, and it will inadvertently create an anxiety in my children. And look, this is far-reaching. Holidays, for example, they are long periods of time where I have to be very focused at just being. And, you know, particularly if something triggers me, then it's very difficult for me to be. And I can become very uptight, very tense. I can be, you know, kind of snappy. And again, this is teaching my children that they are not enough. And that's not the truth, and it's not the reality, but it's the message that my behavior conveys. And that's hard, you know, that's difficult to accept. It's difficult to even talk about and discuss, but it is the reality of somebody like me who suffers with anxiety and suffers with finding it difficult to be. But that doesn't make me a bad parent. It doesn't make me a bad dad. I know that I am the best that I can be, and I am open about this with my children so that I can try to help them understand with me what my real struggle is. Let them know that it's not their fault. Let them know that this isn't their responsibility to try and change. And it gives me a chance to grow and adapt as a dad. So I found it difficult actually to talk about. And you know, as I've been saying this stuff on camera, I feel like maybe what are people going to think of me? Should I post this? Shouldn't I post this? But look, this is what I'm about. My reality is that I want to share the struggles, and I want people to know, if nothing else, that they're not alone in that struggle. And this is something that I struggle with, and it's hard to admit it as a father and as a dad that, you know, I can't be as good as perhaps I would like to be. But then we're all struggling with something, right? And look, I know people will watch this and their natural reaction will be to say it's not that bad, and to say, you know, children are resilient and all the kind of things that we say to make ourselves feel better. And I don't disagree with any of them. This isn't about morbid reflection. This is just about reality. So I hope somebody's got something from it. As ever, give us a like if you have, and reach out and connect with me if you like. I'm happy to discuss any of it in more depth.